All Tomorrows by C.M. Kosemen. Episode 1. To Mars. After millennia of earthbound foreplay, mankind's achievements on a noteworthy level began with its political unification and the gradual colonization of Mars. While the technology to colonize this world had existed for some time, political bickering, shifting agendas, and the sheer inertia of comfortable terrestrial usurping had made this step seem more distant than it actually was. Only when the risks clearly began to present themselves, only when Earth's environment began to buckle under the strains of 12 billion industrialized souls, did mankind finally take up the momentous task. All through the decades, traveling to and later settling on Mars have been envisioned as quick, relatively easy affairs, complicated but feasible and manageable in the short term. As the push finally came to a shove, it was realized that this was not the case. It had to go step by step. Atmospheric bombardment by genetically tailored microbes slowly generated a breathable atmosphere in a cycle that took centuries. Later, a few cometary fragments were knocked off course to bring forth seas, oceans, water. When the wait was finally over, remnants of Earth's flora and fauna were introduced, as specially modified Martian remakes. When everything was ready, people came from their crowded world. They came in one-way ships, fusion rockets, and atmospheric gliders packed to the brim with colonists sleeping in dreams of a new beginning. And so, the first steps on Mars were taken, not by astronauts, not by engineers, but by barefoot children on lush biosynthetic grass. The Martian Americans. For several hundred years, Mars remained as a backwater, prospering but still dim compared to the splendor on Earth, which was glowing brighter than ever before. Thanks to the relocation of environmentally demanding industry to Mars, Earth could usurp everything without having to damage its tired biosphere. This was the terrestrial heyday, the climax of economic, culture, and social development on old Earth. This, however, was not to last. Like the gradual separation of America from her European mother, the governments of Mars adopted a new Martian identity. They became the Martian Americans. The difference between Earth and Mars was not only political. A few generations in the lighter gravity gave the new Americans a spindly lift frame that would look surreal to their old home. This, combined with a certain amount of genetic engineering, took the Martians' separation to a new level. For a while, the silent schism between the two planets was mutually accepted, and the balance of power hung in an edgy equilibrium. But the Terra-Martian standoff did not, could not, last forever. With limitless resources and an energetic population, Mars was bound to take the lead. civil war. The Martian turnover was expected to occur in two ways, either through long-term economic gains or by a much shorter but painful armed conflict. For almost 200 years, the former method seems to take effect, but this gradual stretch eventually did break in a most destructive way. Almost since its establishment, Martian culture was suffused with an explicit theme of rebellion against Earth. Songs, motion pictures, daily publications repeated these notions again and again until they became eternalized. Earth was the old, fossified home that held humanity back. Mars was new, dynamic, active, and intensive. Mars was the future. This ideology eventually reached its semi-paranoid, revolutionary apex. Roughly 1,000 years from now, the nations of Mars ban all non-essential trade and travel with Earth. For Earth, it was a death sentence. Without the resources and industries of Mars, the terrestrial heyday would quickly devolve into a pale shadow of its former glory. Since the trade of essential goods continued, nobody would starve. But for every citizen of Earth, the Martian boycott meant the loss of up to 3/4 of their yearly income. Earth had no choice. It had to reclaim its former privileges, by force if necessary. Centuries after her political unification, Terra geared up for war. Most thinkers and fantasies of previous times had imagined interplanetary war as a glorious, fast-paced spectacle of massive spaceships, one-man fighters, and last-minute heroics. No fantasy could have been further from the truth. War between planets was a slow, nerve-wracking series of precisely timed decisions that spelled destruction on biblical scales. Most of the time, the combatants never saw each other. Most of the time, the combatants were not there at all. War became a duel between complicated, autonomous machines programmed to maximize damage to the other side while trying to last a little longer. Such a conflict caused horrendous destruction on both sides. Phobos, one of Mars's moons, was shattered. Its remains rained down as meteorite hail. Earth received a polar impact that killed 1/3 of its population. Barely escaping extinction, the peoples of Earth and Mars made peace and reforged a united solar system. It had cost them more than 8 billion souls.